Dr. Alara Miles stood in the middle of a dark forest on an alien planet. Her boots sank slightly into the soft blue moss. Above her, two moons glowed through the thick purple clouds. The world was quiet, too quiet. She tapped her wrist communicator. Dr. Alara to base. No signs of movement. I'm heading deeper. No one answered. Static crackled back. She frowned. The signal had been weak since she landed, but now it was gone completely. She tried again, but it was useless. The dense atmosphere and magnetic storms on this world often disrupted communication. Still, she wasn't afraid. Alara was a respected biologist from Earth. She had worked on many dangerous planets. This one, Zeta 9, had been marked for study. Strange life signs had been detected underground, life not listed in any known galactic record. She had volunteered for the solo mission. She wanted to be the first to collect samples. She had no idea it would be her last peaceful mission. As she walked through a field of glowing flowers, she suddenly heard a faint clicking noise behind her. She turned quickly, scanning the area. Nothing. Her hand moved slowly toward her sidearm, just in case. She took a deep breath and kept walking. Then the ground opened. It happened in a split second. One moment she was walking, the next she was falling into a black pit. Her scream was swallowed by the darkness as she hit the bottom hard. Pain shot through her leg. She tried to stand but couldn't. Before she could even think, they came. Metallic limbs reached out from the shadows, long thin arms with too many joints. They'd moved like spiders but were cold and silent. Strange blue lights blinked where their eyes should be. The creatures surrounded her. Alara tried to reach her weapon, but a sharp hiss of gas filled the air. Her vision blurred. Her body became heavy. She tried to scream as they dragged her away, but her voice wouldn't come. The last thing she saw before passing out was a dark tunnel, and a symbol burned into the wall, an alien spiral. She would see it again, in her nightmares. She woke up strapped to a table. The room was cold, silent, and too bright. The walls were made of smooth black metal. The ceiling pulsed with soft white light. Machines hummed from above, needles, scanners, blades. She couldn't move. Her arms and legs were held down by strange organic straps that pulsed like veins. Her mouth was free, but dry. She tried to scream. Nothing came out. Then one of them appeared. It was tall and thin, its skin like polished stone, eyes glowing blue. It walked without sound. Its face had no mouth. Only smooth, featureless skin. Yet she heard its voice inside her head. Subject human. Brain activity high. Emotional response, fear. Alara gasped. What are you? You are test number 431. Control group. No enhancements. Let us begin. Pain exploded through her body as a needle pierced her arm. She felt the liquid burning through her veins. Her vision flickered. She saw images, memories that weren't hers. A desert planet. A war. Screams in a language she didn't know. She screamed again. The machine above her opened and lowered something that looked like a living worm. Its body covered in tiny black spikes. It slid toward her face. No, please, don't. Darkness swallowed her. Back at the Earth research base, the signal from Alara's suit vanished. Alarms beeped, and a young officer stared at the screen. She's gone, he whispered. The commander frowned. We lost another one. The officer nodded. Same as the others. No trace, no wreckage, just gone. Log it, the commander said coldly, and notify her family. Dr. Alara Miles is KIA. They turned off her file. No one saw the signal that appeared 12 hours later. An escape pod launched from deep space. No ID, no crew list. But inside, there was a body. A woman. Breathing. Eyes closed. Skin pale. Her lips were moving, whispering something in a language no human knew. She had no wounds, no scars, no memory. But when the medics pulled her from the pod, one of them touched her arm and started screaming. The medical bay was quiet, filled with the soft hum of machines. Dr. Alara Miles lay on the observation table. Her skin looked colder now, pale like moonlight. Her breathing was steady, but her heartbeat was slow, too slow for a human. Commander Ryle stood behind a thick glass wall, arms crossed. She doesn't look injured, he said, watching the doctors move around her carefully. How is she alive? Dr. Sora, the lead medic, didn't answer right away. She checked the scanner again. No internal damage, no wounds, no physical trauma, but something is wrong. Her brainwaves, Commander, they're not normal. Explain? They're moving too fast. Her brain is processing information like a supercomputer, faster than any human I've ever seen. It's like someone upgraded her. Commander Real's face hardened. You're saying she's not human anymore? I don't know what she is, Dr. Sora whispered. The lights flickered for just a second. Alara's eyes opened. They were no longer brown. They glowed. A soft, deep white light filled her irises. Her pupils were gone. Her gaze was fixed straight ahead, but not on anyone. She stared at the ceiling, lips moving slowly. Dr. Sora leaned closer. She's saying something again. It's the same language. Still can't translate it. Then the glass cracked. A thin spiderweb line ran across the viewing window in front of Commander Rio. What was that? He barked. The machines beside Alara beeped wildly. One flatlined, another overloaded and sparked. Alara sat up. No one touched her. The organic straps that once held her body to the table had melted. Dr. Sora backed away, eyes wide. She wasn't even awake. Alara looked around the room slowly. Her head turned like a machine, exact and emotionless. The white glow at her eyes faded to soft gray. Her lips stopped moving. Where am I? She asked, her voice quiet, hollow. You're safe, Dr. Miles, Dr. Sora said gently. You're back at the Earth outpost. Do you remember what happened? Alara blinked slowly. I was in the forest, Zeta 9. Then, pain. So much pain. And then, she stopped. Her hands started shaking. They were inside my head. Commander Real walked in, ignoring the warning from the medics. Dr. Miles, what do you mean inside your head? I saw them, she said, not with my eyes. With something else. They're not just creatures, they're minds. Cold, endless minds. Dr. Sora stepped forward. Alara, your body shows no damage, but your brain activity is extremely unusual. You were missing for 10 days. Do you remember anything specific? Alara's head tilted slightly. I don't know if those memories are mine anymore. Suddenly, the room lights shut off. The backup lights kicked in a second later, bathing the room in red. An alert blared from the hall. A alert, system failure. Unknown TODDTTTD. Commander Ryle tapped his comm. Control, report. No response. Dr. Sora looked at Alara. You got something back, didn't you? Alara looked down at her hand. It was glowing. A strange symbol had formed under her skin, the same spiral that was on the wall in the alien tunnel. I didn't come back alone, she whispered. The door burst open. A soldier rushed in with a weapon. Commander, someone just accessed our satellite array from inside this room. Impossible? Ryle snapped. The systems are sealed. They were, the soldier said, until she woke up. Everyone turned toward Alara. She stood now, her bare feet touching the metal floor. Her movements were graceful, almost floating. I'm not trying to hurt you, she said softly, but I need answers to. Answers to what? Real asked. Why they let me go? Her body trembled slightly. Her hands clenched at her sides. They didn't make a mistake. They chose to send me back. Dr. Sora looked at the scanner. The readings were spiking. Then she saw something terrifying. Commander, she said slowly. Something is transmitting from her brain. Transmitting what? I don't know, Dr. Sora said, but it's not in human code. Alara's eyes flashed white again. And far above the planet, in deep orbit, a dead satellite turned itself on. It sent a signal, and something out there answered. The signal wasn't meant for Earth, but it heard her anyway. High above Earth's orbit, a satellite that had been offline for 20 years powered on. Its systems, long thought dead, whirred back to life. A signal pulsed from it, short bursts of sound, deep tones, and strange clicking rhythms. But the signal wasn't going to Earth. It was going out, into space, and something heard it. Back on the base, alarms blared across the control room. Screens flashed with warnings: unauthorized transmission, unknown origin, energy spikes in satellite arrays. Commander Rail stormed in, his boots heavy on the metal floor. Status report. We don't know how, sir, an officer said. That satellite? It wasn't just activated. It's been reprogrammed, and it's sending a repeating signal. To who? The officer shook his head. Nothing in our system matches it. It's not human, and it's not any known alien language either. Rail's eyes narrowed. It's from her. The officer hesitated. Yes, sir. The transmission matches the brainwave pattern from Dr. Alara Miles. Alara sat in the isolation chamber. The room had no windows, just 4 walls of white light and a single camera in the corner. She didn't look scared. She looked calm. Too calm. Dr. Sora stood outside the glass, watching her worried. Alara hadn't spoken in hours. She just sat on the floor, staring at the wall, whispering to herself in that same alien language. She's not just repeating things anymore, Sora said to Rio. She's communicating. But with what? Ryle crossed his arms. We may have brought something home we weren't supposed to. Lock her down. No contact. It might be too late for that. In deep space, something moved. Not a ship. Not a fleet. It was alive. A massive creature, shaped like a broken star, covered in black stone and shining eyes. It floated silently through the void. But when Alara's signal reached it, all of its eyes turned toward Earth, and it started moving faster. Inside the isolation chamber, Alara closed her eyes. She was sweating now, her breath sharp. "They're coming," she whispered. Dr. Sora leaned in closer to the glass. "Who's coming, Alara?" Alara looked up. "They heard me. I didn't mean to call them, but I'm still part of them now. I can't stop the signal." Sora looked confused. "What are they?" Alara's voice shook. "Not machines, not minds. They're parasites. They don't need ships. They don't conquer with weapons. They grow in you. They speak through you, learn through you." And then, she didn't finish. The lights above flickered. Then every screen in the facility went black. Just one symbol appeared, the spiral. Real's voice came over the intercom. "Emergency lockdown. Everyone to secure stations." Sora turned to Alara. "If they're coming, we need to stop the signal. Tell us how." Alara shook her head. "I don't know how. I was just supposed to die there. That's what they do. Use you, break you, and leave the body behind." "Then why are you still alive?" "I think they left something in me," Alara whispered. "Something they want back." Above Earth, defense satellites began to fail. One by one, systems crashed without warning. Codes were being rewritten faster than anyone could stop them. At Earth Defense Command, panic grew. "We're losing orbital control. All outer perimeter drones are offline." A general turned to the screen. "Who's attacking us?" But there was no enemy ship, no known weapon. Only a shape approaching from deep space. Black, silent. A shadow with a heart of fire. Back at the base, Alara's body began to glow again. Not just her eyes, her veins, her skin. Her voice echoed unnaturally as she stood up. "They're almost here." Dr. Sora stared in horror. What do they want? Alara looked at her with blank, glowing eyes. To finish what they started. Just then, the ceiling lights exploded. The walls cracked. Screams echoed from down the hall. And then, the base went silent. Out in the stars, the black creature opened. Not with metal or doors, but like a blooming flower. Inside, shapes began to rise. Things half alive, half machine, made of flesh, wires, and eyes. They didn't fly ships. They were the ships. And Earth was their next host. The base was silent. Smoke drifted through the ruined halls. Wires sparked from shattered walls. Soldiers moved carefully, weapons raised. They had lost contact with the control center, with orbit, and with most of their systems. And Dr. Alara Miles had vanished. Commander Ryle stood beside the remains of the isolation chamber. The glass had cracked clean through, split like it had been torn from the inside. No signs of struggle. No blood. She just walked out, one soldier whispered. "No," Ryle muttered. She was let out. The spiral symbol had appeared again, this time carved into the floor, glowing faintly. No one could explain how. No tools, no heat. It was just there. Dr. Sora arrived, pale and breathing hard. "Sir, we're detecting viral code in every part of our system, not digital. Biological patterns, folded into our firewalls like they've been rewritten." "How is that possible?" "I don't know. It's not just hacking. It's like the base is getting sick." Ryle narrowed his eyes. "Then start treating it like a disease. Initiate infection protocol." In orbit, Earth's satellites had begun turning toward their own planet. Not aiming sensors. Aiming weapons. They were being taken one by one. Something was rewriting their commands. But there was no army. No fleet. Only the creature drifting in the dark. A living thing the size of a city, pulsing with energy and eyes. And inside it, something moved. Something human-shaped. Dr. Alara Miles stood in the empty forest outside the base. She wasn't the same. Her skin glowed faintly beneath the surface, like light was trapped inside her veins. Her movements were calm, too smooth, almost like she floated instead of walked. Around her, birds didn't sing. Animals had followed. Even the wind was still. She knelt in the dirt and pressed her glowing hand to the ground. The spiral symbol burned beneath her palm. Then she whispered, "They're here." Inside Earth Defense Command, chaos spread. Multiple power grids are failing. We're losing the orbital weapons array. What do we do? General Hart slammed his fist on the table. Shut it all down. Everything. If our systems are infected, we stop feeding them power. But it was too late. The infection wasn't just in code. It had learned. The same energy inside Alara was now inside the systems, spreading like a virus, copying itself into everything it touched. Files, maps, coordinates, even defense plans. They weren't just hacking Earth. They were studying it. Back at the base, Commander Rael met with Dr. Soar in the emergency bunker. "She's not just a victim," Rael said. "She's a carrier." "She didn't ask for this," Soar replied. "We still don't understand what they did to her. She's connected to that thing up there, and it's not stopping. It's evolving." Suddenly, the screen in the bunker came alive. No one had touched it. A camera feed flickered on. Alara stood alone in the forest, looking straight into the lens. And she spoke. "They want Earth." Sora leaned closer. "Alara, can you fight it?" Alara looked sad. "I don't think I want to." A high-pitched sound rang through every speaker on the planet, barely audible but sharp enough to make blood feel cold. People dropped what they were doing. Animals screamed. Technology froze. Then the first construct landed. It wasn't a ship. It looked like a human, tall, thin, with glass-like skin and glowing symbols. Its face was blank. Its body pulsed with the same light as Alara's veins. And it spoke with her voice. "Post acquired. System match complete." A soldier opened fire. The bullets stopped mid-air, frozen, then dropped. And the construct simply walked forward. Nothing could stop it. Back in the forest, Alara clutched her head, gasping. "No," she whispered. "They're moving too fast. They're using me to map everything, to copy everything." Sora's voice crackled through the hidden comm unit. "Alara, fight them. We're trying to shut the signal down from here." "I'm not just a signal," Alara said. "I'm the blueprint. They're building their invasion from me." Suddenly her skin cracked with light. A second spiral formed on her chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Then she collapsed. Above Earth, more constructs began to fall. Not in ships. They were falling like rain. Soft, silent, and everywhere. And each one carried the voice of the woman who had died screaming in their lab. It started with one human. Now the whole planet was bleeding light. The sky wasn't blue anymore. It was cracked. Thin lines of glowing red spread across the clouds, like veins pulsing with heat. Cities saw strange lights in the sky at night. Symbols, spirals, flickers of Alara's voice in radio waves, even when the radios were off. She had become something more than human, and she had become everywhere. In the center of Earth's last command bunker, Commander Rael stared at the map. Red dots spread across the globe, each one a place touched by the invaders, not with bombs, not with fleets, with constructs. They moved like humans but didn't bleed, didn't breathe, didn't stop. And every time one was destroyed, two more appeared. Dr. Soar arrived with blood on her sleeve. Her lab had been attacked. "They're copying more than just Alara's body," she said. "They're building new versions, smarter ones." Rael looked at her. "Are we even fighting a war anymore?" "No," she said quietly. "We're inside one." On the street level, people ran. Cities like Tokyo, Berlin, and Sao Paulo became ghost towns overnight. Anyone who resisted the constructs vanished. Those who ran had dreams, the same dream of spirals in the dark, of whispers in a voice that wasn't their own. Children began drawing the spiral on their walls. Some adults woke up humming alien tunes. The infection wasn't just physical anymore. It was spiritual. Alara stood at the heart of a ruined forest. Glowing symbols floated around her, spinning slowly, whispering things in languages no human knew. She could feel the whole planet, every signal, every breath, every fear. Her eyes were not hers anymore. They belonged to the creature above Earth, and it was learning fast. Meanwhile, underground in an old Cold War shelter, a resistance formed. Old tech. No network. Just wires, ink and blood. General Hart, long thought retired, took command. They control anything digital, so we fight like it's 1945 again. Radios off, guns simple, orders written by hand, and most important, no one sleeps near the infected. A soldier raised his hand. "How do we know who's infected?" Hart answered coldly. "If they hum, whisper, or draw spirals in their sleep, you shoot them." The spiral grew in the sky, now visible even during the day. People screamed when they saw it. Some worshipped it. Others burned their homes and vanished into the woods. Religions collapsed. Governments froze. And Alara wept. She hadn't meant for this. But she could feel their thoughts now. The creatures, the architects of this living invasion. They were not angry. They were curious. Earth was their lab. And she was their tool. In orbit, Earth's last defense satellites were finally wiped clean. One final message was sent by the AI system, protecting them. We tried to understand her. We failed. She is no longer alone. Then silence. The black shape above Earth opened again. And this time, something larger stepped out. Not a construct. Not a ship. A being of spirals and eyes, thousands of them, shifting like liquid. It did not fall to Earth. It ascended, slowly, almost gently, like a god. Dr. Sora finally made contact with Alara. Old equipment, analog radio. Please, she said softly, if any part of you is still Alara, fight them. Alara's voice came back, soft, like wind through a graveyard. I don't know if I can. They took everything. My memories, my pain, my thoughts. She paused. But I still remember my name. Alara, Sora whispered, tears in her eyes. I was supposed to die in that lab, Alara said. But they needed a door. I became the door. And now? Now I think I'm the key. At midnight, across every major city, the constructs stopped. They stood still. Then in unison, they spoke. 1 planet, 7 billion hosts, testing complete. Then came the final message. Phase 2, begin. From the sky descended the spiral god, and the ground itself began to shake, not from force, but from rewriting. Reality itself started to twist. Buildings changed shape. Trees split into glass. The laws of physics began to bend around the spiral energy pouring from the creature. Earth was no longer Earth. It was becoming them. But in a forgotten cave far from the cities, a man held something ancient, a notebook with sketches Alara had made before her mission. And on the last page, she had drawn a different spiral. One going backward. One meant to break the pattern. And he whispered, maybe she left us a way out. The spiral changed her, but one memory refused to die. Alara stood at the edge of what used to be a city. Now it was just broken glass and spirals, carved into steel and bone. The people were gone, either taken, changed, or worse. But she still stood there, not fully human, not fully alien. Her body shimmered with unnatural light. Her hands could melt walls. Her eyes could see every signal on Earth. But deep inside, something remained. A spark, a name, a memory, and it burned like fire in the storm. In a cave far from the spiral's reach, the man named Jonah Cade traced Alara's drawing. A spiral, but unlike the others, it spun inward rather than outward, as if it was eating itself. She called this one the null spiral, Jonah whispered. Old notes from Alara's journal were scribbled around the page. If they opened the door using one pattern, maybe I can shut it using another. She had known something before she was taken. Something the creatures didn't. And maybe she had left a weapon. Back in the ruined sky, the spiral god floated, pulsing softly. Every second, more of Earth twisted into impossible shapes, roads turning into rivers of metal, trees growing upside down, shadows moving even without light. And in the center of it all, Alara felt the pressure. The hive, the will. They didn't speak with words. They pushed with thought. Forget who you were. We are all one. You are ours now. But in her mind, she saw a memory. Simple. Soft. A coffee cup in her hand, the smell of rain. Her mother's voice humming a lullaby. And suddenly, the spiral inside her screamed. Underground in the old Cold War base, General Hart listened to the last signals from across the world. Most channels were dead. One was open. Alara's voice, barely human, whispered over the wires. I remember, the beach. I was 12. Hart turned to Dr. Sora. She's trying to anchor herself, Sora said. She's fighting back. But can she win? Hart asked. Sora didn't answer. She looked terrified. Jonah Cade didn't wait. He gathered old tech, analog generators, copper wire, magnetic tape, and copied the null spiral onto a large iron plate. He followed Alara's final notes. No eye, no signal, just sound and shape. That's how they got in, so that's how we get them out. He activated the plate, and the spiral spun. Not outward like the others, but inward. And as it spun, something above the Earth twitched. The spiral god paused midair. Its movements became slow, like it was confused, like it was seeing something it couldn't process. Alara screamed in its mind, "You took my body, you took my mind, but this one thing, this one spiral, was mine." And for the first time, the creature hesitated. Jonah felt the cave shake. The null spiral on the plate cracked the ground. Air pulsed. Somewhere far above, constructs began collapsing, one by one, as if something had short-circuited them from the inside. "It's working," he whispered. But then the plate began to burn. It wasn't built to hold that kind of energy. And Jonah realized this wasn't just a signal. It was a seed. Something Ilara had planted in her own mind. A virus. A spiral to undo the others. But to it fully, they needed her help. Dr. Sora managed to break into Ilara's radio stream again. "Ilara, listen, you're drawing the backward spiral. It's finding them." Ilara fell to her knees. Her skin cracked with golden light. Her veins pulsed like living circuits, and deep inside, the alien code screamed as her human memories tried to burn it out. She looked up at the sky, at the god of spirals watching silently. "I'm not your gate anymore," she whispered. "I'm the key that closes the door." And she screamed, not in pain, but in power. Above, the spiral god split open. 1,000 eyes blinked at once. A sound echoed across the world, not like a roar, but like a question. The alien intelligence, vast and ancient, didn't understand what was happening. It had taken Ilara to learn from her. But now Ilara was unteaching it. The spiral reversed. The pattern bent. And space around Earth shivered. Jonah stared into the growing spiral in the cave. It was pulling things in light heap sound. "Is this a black hole?" one soldier asked. "No," Jonah said. "It's a memory." All across Earth, infected zones began to crumble. Buildings returned to stone. People awoke from strange dreams. The symbols in the sky dimmed, and the spiral in the clouds began to unwind. Not fast, not completely, but enough. Enough for Earth to breathe again. In her final transmission, Ilara's voice came through one last time. "I'm not all human anymore, but I'm not all alien either. I'm something new. And I will guard this planet from them." The signal ended. The spiral vanished. And the spiral god, still floating high above Earth, began to close its eyes. One by one. Earth had survived the first invasion, but not without cost. The world was scared. Millions were gone, but hope remained. And far below, deep underground, a new spiral began to grow. This time, not of pain, but of resistance. She fought the spiral and won. But the war wasn't over yet. 3 months had passed. The skies above Earth were clear. No floating symbols, no broken physics, no whispers in the dark. But no one trusted the peace. People walked the streets with wide eyes and quiet steps. They'd avoided mirrors. They feared the spiral. And deep underground, a team of scientists, soldiers, and survivors gathered around one thing. A memory. Ilara's memory. Jonah Cade ran his hand over the iron plate holding the null spiral. It was cracked now. Faint pulses of light still moved inside it, like a heartbeat. It hadn't moved since the day the spiral god withdrew. "She saved us," Jonah said, "but we still don't know how." General Hart crossed his arms. "We don't even know where she is." Jonah nodded, "or what she is." Far beyond Earth, past satellites and radio waves, something floated in the dark. Ilara. Her body had changed again, no longer human, but not like the spiral god either. She was something else. A hybrid. A guardian. She drifted in space, half asleep, half awake. Her thoughts echoed like signals through static. "They're not finished. I saw more of them, behind the veil." The spiral was just the beginning. And even as her body healed in the vacuum, she kept watching, waiting. Back on Earth, something strange was happening. The null spiral began to glow again. Sora stared at it, horrified. "This isn't just a memory. It's a doorway." Jonah stepped closer, "But we closed it." "No," Sora said. "Ilara did. We only slowed it down." Suddenly, the lights flickered. The air turned cold. And a voice came through the radio. Not Ilara. Not human. But familiar. "You left the door open. We are many." She was just the first. In orbit, satellites picked up movement. A ripple in space. Something trying to push through. Another spiral, but this one faster, stronger, angrier. Sora gasped. "It's not the same one. It's a response." Jonah slammed his hand on the console. "They're sending more." The spiral god had been a scout. A probe. A test. Now the real force was coming, and Earth wasn't ready. In the darkness of space, Laura opened her eyes. She felt the signal, felt the pressure building beyond the stars, and deep inside, her spiral pulsed again. But it didn't twist like before. It turned backward, inward, a spiral of resistance. She sent one last message to Earth. Her voice was weaker now, more machine than human. But the heart in it still burned. They're coming, but I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not your weapon. I'm your shield. And then she moved. Fast. Light blurred around her. Stars bent in her wake. She didn't need a ship. She was the weapon now. The spiral may have made her, but she hadn't made it. And now she would meet its masters. Earth's skies flashed again. People stopped in fear. But this time, the spiral in the sky didn't grow. It shrank. It twisted backward. And in its center, a glowing figure appeared. Alara. Surrounded by a ring of light. Jonah looked up, eyes wide. She came back. Sora whispered, not just back. She's stronger. Alara raised one hand toward the sky, and the spiral collapsed inward. Gone. Vanished. Sealed. For now. But Alara knew the truth. The spiral god was only the first shadow. The others were watching, waiting, and Earth was now part of a bigger war. But this time, humanity wouldn't be alone, because one of their own had gone beyond death, had returned to something else, and she would stand between them and the stars. Forever. The end.